It's a shame to say because back in the day, as we're going to get into right now, perfect segue, they fought. Guys fought. The best fought the best. And this week was the anniversary of the fight of the century, Ali versus Frazier, part one. And this
Mm-hmm.
was a time where guys literally fought everybody. It wasn't about money like how it is now. It wasn't about politics.
It
It
was
wasn't
about
about
legacy and
it was about
belts.
legacy and belts, which is far different from now. Guys these
Yeah.
days, oh, I don't want to fight him because the money's not right. I'm not fighting it's not going to be a 60-30 split. It's all this foolishness when it goes to negotiations. Before it was like you said, belts and legacy. And when Ali and Frazier fought that first fight, it was one of the biggest sporting events in the world, in
Yeah.
history. They both represented two sides of America when you think about it. Joe Frazier had his fan bases, which was mainly predominantly white. Um, Obviously Muhammad Ali had the nation behind him, and his group of people. It was almost like a major fight because they both brought in different sides of people that wanted to see one or the other win. And these were
Mm-hmm.
these were two guys that at one point was actually buddies. Joe
Yeah.
Frazier gave Muhammad Ali money, and for some reason they ended up being two polarizing figures that hated each other's guts, and it was shown in this fight.
Right.
One thing that stands out to me was the 15th round knockdown by Joe Frazier when he hit him with a crazy shot, bro. Crazy shot. And that was the
Clean
first
left
time I
hook, if I'm
seen
not
left
mistaken.
hook. Yeah. First time
Yeah.
I seen Muhammad Ali hit the deck. But Dino, I want to know your thoughts on that rivalry, that fight, maybe in particular, and we lived that moment. Even though we wasn't there at that time, we all saw the highlights. Just do the highlights and do what you seen with the clips of it and what you heard in the documentaries. Just try to relive that moment as much as you can. Try to put yourself in that time to that fight.
Right. Oh man. I mean, I guess the first thing that comes to mind would definitely have to be um, the era and the time period of boxing, where it's like, you had Ali fighting Foreman, you had three Ali Frazier fights, which is, how often do we see trilogies in boxing nowadays? Like it's not, like you said, it's non-existent nowadays because like, oh, it was 60-30 split, 70-30 split, 60-40 split. It doesn't happen anymore. Like we had all these great fighters going up against each other. We had Tyson Holyfield, we had Ali, like you said, Ali Frazier, Foreman Ali, and it's like why can't it just be like that nowadays more often? You know what I mean? And it's just like that rivalry brought so much to boxing. You had, Frazier wins, then Ali wins, and then you had the thrill in Manila, Ali wins, and it was just like it's like I don't think that really there's any boxing rivalry that gets bigger than Ali Frazier, in my opinion. I don't think I can name one. And just
Yeah.
what it did for the sport, like it really was like you said, it was like one of the most biggest, if not the biggest sporting event in the world at the time. And that was when people really like boxing was like it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
now it's kind of like declined, and it's really sad because from how high it used to be and like how the sport used to be what's the word I'm looking for? I guess
Last
like
time used to
done
be
and
better.
ran rather. It used to be
Yeah.
ran in such a different way where guys cared about like legacy and belts more than about money and splits. And it's just I wish that they could bring it back somehow. And it's just I don't know. I just think that the rivalry really brought a lot to the sport and definitely left a long legacy. But nowadays, obviously, it's different. But yeah, in my opinion, that's my opinion. So what about you, bro?
I wish I can get back in and time travel for a day. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe more than a day. Who wants to be here in a daggone pandemic wearing masks? But I wish I could go back for a couple of days just to relive that moment live because, guys, everybody that watched the show that knows me knows how much of a sports fan I am, how much of a boxing fan I am. I know how much of a boxing fan you are, Dino. So for me to be able to go back in that time, being a boxing fan, knowing that boxing was great, that was when boxing was it. UFC didn't stand a chance against boxing. Why? And this is my theory. It's because of the trilogies. Guys fought each other more than once. And I do believe in history shown, I didn't do research like I, would normally do on the show where I would have my paperwork, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that got Google. So you can Google and find the paperwork there on Google, is that trilogies and second fights make more money and have more viewers than the first fight, especially if the first fight was good. And that's just what it is. So guys these days, Lomachenko and Teofimo, that's one thing that comes to my mind. And look, I'm a Teofimo Lopez guy. I think he's the best in the division. But you want to see that fight again because it was great. It was a great fight in the middle of a pandemic. It had so many implications of what Ali Frazier was. That probably was the closest thing to Ali Frazier, because it was a guy in Teofimo Lopez who was young, who was 23 years old, just getting into his prime, not even there yet, but entering it, and Lomachenko, a guy at the top. And they fought at that point in the middle of a pandemic on free national television.
Yes.
And the fact that we don't see that again is a problem in boxing. And the fact that we don't even see great fights once. We can't even get Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence once.
Yep.
And we got Frazier and Ali 3 times. And guess what, Dino? The third time, the Thriller in Manila was probably the better fight out of all 3 of them, because both guys had to go to the hospital 2 times. That was like a last man standing match.
Yeah. It was 1-1 too. Everyone wanted to see that trilogy. And like you said, you make a great point where it's like we saw Loma Lopez, and we're probably only going to see it once. Granted, at least we got it, though. Like nowadays, we need to hope we even get it once. But, I just I even think like, Mayweather Pacquiao, you got it once, and they were both towards the end past their primes. And it's just like that could have been 4 or 5 years too late.
If that happened, if Manny Pacquiao, I'm glad you brought that up. If Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather did that fight when they needed to do it in the prime of their careers, that could have been the closest thing to an Ali Frazier.
I agree 100%. Because they could have, Pacquiao could have easily won those fights. If he didn't fight the first one with a torn rotator cuff, had it been 3, 4, 5 years earlier where they started it, that could have definitely well been like Ali Frazier, That would have been it, because those were the 2 biggest names in the sport at the time. It could have very well lived up to that height. That's a great point.
Yeah. And, unfortunately, we can't go back in time. We can't relive the good old days. Things get more political. It seems like everything gets more political, and it takes away the fun of it. Everything. Music gets political. What else? Everything. Sports gets political. It takes away from what made sports great. Now, granted, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm damn sure going somewhere with it. And I know for a fact that sports was great when it was, guys wanted to fight other guys, and, teams hating each other, and just, that's what made sports great. And I wish sports could go back to that, but everything is so political. It's all about money. It's all about the politics, and it's really taken away from the sport, and it's unfortunate. You see in the NBA today, guys is, the referees is ridiculous. They calling fouls on guys just passing the ball. It's a technical, and he's getting ejected. It's so ridiculous how sports is trending towards, and it's making the NBA the new Catholic school, because I've been to Catholic school. I went to Catholic school for high school. I know what a Catholic school looks like, and the NBA is the modern day Catholic school. You drop a pen on the floor, you serving a daggone 2-day suspension. It's getting that bad in the NBA. And in football, football got its own issues as well. And it's just, I want to see sports great like there was before,
Oh, me too, bro. That's a fantastic point. 100% agree with that. And it's like, here's a great example too. Back then, Ali, Frazier, Foreman, these guys were fighting every other month. They were fighting once, and then 2 months later, they go right back in, go again. New opponent.
15 rounds.
Nowadays, you see these people taking like a year and a half off before they fight again. It's ridiculous.
They take a year off. This is what they do. right? And I don't care if I'm throwing shots at any boxer. If you got a problem, you can come on my show and give me some followers. I don't care. All right, but this is what a fighter do. He'll take 12, 13 months off, fight one fight, and say, oh, I want to spend time with my family. What the hell you was doing for them 12 months before you came in this fight? Oh, I want to spend time with my family. What the hell you was doing for them 12 months that you was on a layoff? You literally been in the ring for an hour and a half. All right, that's the only time you spend with your family. Oh, I want to spend time with my family, so I'm gonna take another 6 to 10 months off. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I
It's
agree,
unbelievable.
100%. Yeah.
But yo, Dean.O, man, I love this conversation we had tonight on the Real Leel show, man. I thank you for coming on. This was fun. This was fun.
Oh, my bro, it's always a pleasure. I love chopping it up. This was a great conversation. I enjoyed it a lot.
Definitely, man. And I'll definitely be looking forward to more episodes having you on and chopping
Yes,
it
sir.
up like this. For everybody that's watching the show, y'all know what to do. Y'all know the protocol, the like and subscribe and the feel the vibe. We're going to be pushing out content. You know, we're going to take it a little bit slow the next couple of weeks because there's not a lot of things happening in the world of sports. I would love to bring guests on, more guests on, but you know how people are. You can't trust people these days. Everybody got their own schedule. And at the end of the day, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, even if it's just by yourself, you know? So we'll figure something out. But definitely like, share the video, subscribe. And if you want to get in contact with my guy Dean.O, chop it up, give him a follow on Instagram. Dean.O, how can they find you?
Dean and Olivia on Instagram. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And y'all know where to find me, Real Leel _TV. And on to the next time, my brother.
Yes, sir, my brother. Always a pleasure.